Jacoby. We are Jalen Jacoby. What exactly is it that we do, though?
We get the people!
Yes!
What they want.
Jalen, first of all, we got to start the show by celebrating the life of Jeannie Cassandra Rose. Happy birthday to Jeannie Rose, who unfortunately we lost. We have Rashad Bateman joining us later on in the program. We have an update on the future of the Brooklyn Nets, but we start the show, of course, with the NFL draft. Tomorrow, franchises will change, and everyone's talking about the number 3 pick. Everybody's talking about what the 49ers are going to do, but there's also another pivot point, decision-making spot in the top of the draft, and that is the Detroit Lions. If you look at these projections,
who did you say control the draft? Who did you say control the draft again?
The 49ers. But there's another pivot point at 7 with the Lions, and it looks like there will be at least a couple highly ranked quarterbacks available and Heisman Trophy winner, national champion Devonta Smith available as well. So, Mr. Rose, what do you think the Lions should do if this is the way it shakes out?
There might be one human being like, why is he hollering and screaming about his team? It's called being a diehard fan of a squad that has never been to a Super Bowl. So, yes, days like the draft, they're like playoff games for us, dog. This is wild card weekend. This is wild card weekend for a Lions fan. And I'm going to tell you this, Jacoby. I know you want to probably take the Heisman Trophy winner. Hope that he becomes the next Randy Moss or something out there like a gazelle running past people in Devontae Smith. Or what about Jamar Chase? Can he be like our version of a Megatron? But we've had the all-time great receiver. You know what we need? A quarterback. That's what we need. And Mac Jones may slide to us. No shots, no shade at Mac Jones. Alabama is that deal. He's that deal. I think he's going to be a really nice pocket quarterback. But I would love for my team to get somebody that's a little bit agile in and out of the pocket. You know what I'm saying? Justin Fields, he can run. He's pretty agile. And if you keep a clean pocket around him, he's a surgeon. He's a surgeon. As a Michigan Wolverine fan, I promise you he's a surgeon. However, if you really want to, like we started the show with that line, that security guard moving out of the way of that line drive, Trey Lance. Trey Lance. If people are saying your name and it sounds like Patrick Mahomes as a comparison, like I think I heard it. I don't know if I heard it. My hearing ain't the best. You know what I'm saying? You know my vision ain't the best, but I think I heard somebody say, if I really look closely, that might be Patrick Mahomes. If that's the case, I want to take that chance. I hope Trey Lance, becomes a member of my Detroit Lions at 7.
You know what I want to see them do just to upset you? They're going to trade out. You know they're going to trade out of the pick. They're going to trade down, get a first next year, and end up with like a really solid lineman. That's exactly what they're going to do, and I can't wait to do the show on Friday after they trade this pick. Moving on to the NBA, we had 2 significant games in the Western Conference. The Blazers beat the Pacers, and the Mavericks went on a 28-0 run to beat the Warriors. This is significant because those are the 2 teams that sit at 6 and 7, trying to stay away from a play-in game. Right now, the Mavs have a 1-game lead over the Blazers. Jalen, when you look at the future, about 10 games left, which team do you think will be playing in the play-in elimination, and which team do you think will be the number 6 seed?
Did you see Luka? And I want to frame this for everybody. Okay. There's a player that once played in the NBA. His nickname was Black Jesus. Earl the Pearl Monroe.
Uncle Earl.
I'm not saying that Luka is Earl the Pearl. What I am saying is when I see their size for guards, their skill set, how they put people on their hips and flirt with triple doubles, their body types, it doesn't seem like they ever are sped up because they're not the fastest and they're not the most athletic. I can't front Jacoby. When I watch Luka, it reminds me of what Earl the Pearl would look like in today's game. And I love it so much. Look at how he's filling up the stat sheet. Look at how he's filling up the stat sheet.
39 points last night.
I think that they're going to get the 6th spot. They're getting the 6th spot. And they're extremely well coached. Shout to Rick Carlisle. Because I'll look up Trey Burke, Tim Hardaway Jr., Jalen Brunson, all playing quality minutes. Finney Smith playing quality minutes. And before you know it, they still can maintain the 6th seed, whether Porzingis has been in or out of the lineup. They beat Steph Curry for the 3rd time in his career this season by 30-plus points. They was waxing.
It was wild. Watching the game, I was looking at the score like, is it 70-48 right now? Like, I just couldn't even believe that was the actual score. And look, it's easy to pile on after a game like this, but watching that Warriors team, I'm like, I'm not sure they're Thompson and Wiseman away. Like, I'm not sure they're Thompson and Wiseman away, and they will most definitely be in the play-in, and we will see how that plays out. Now we take our attention to the Eastern Conference, where the Nets got a weird win against the Raptors.
My brother, to the
Kyrie didn't play great. Durant didn't play great. Jeff Green led him in scoring, but we have an update from Steve Nash, who said that Harden still has a ways to go before he is back. Jalen, let's say he comes back right around the playoffs, maybe a game or two before the playoffs. What do you think that impact will be on the future of this Nets team?
Okay, here's something you appreciate.
Okay.
How many times do you take days off?
Never.
How many times do I take days off?
Never.
Who's our backup crew?
The Nets. Jalen, what does it have to do with the Brooklyn Nets?
Who's our backup crew? Nobody. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if I'm not here, somebody might sit in and do the show, but Jalen's still in the title. Jacoby's still in the title. They're not going to win the East, Jacoby, without all three of those guys. Mm-hmm. Ain't no substituting who's in the title. You and I are the title. That big three's the title. I know you want to look at the Nets and say, oh, just with KD and Kyrie, they'll win the East. Not going to be able to do it. I believe if you feel that way, you're not respecting the journey. And let me tell you what's going to happen on the journey. But these fantastic players, I've called James Harden years ago the most unique offensive weapon the game has seen. And I stood by that. However, you know what they don't have on the interior? An all NBA level big. And you know what they might have to do in the Eastern Conference? Play against the Miami Heat and Bam Adebayo. How about that?
Jalen.
They might have to play against Giannis and the Bucks, Embiid and the Sixers. And I believe those dominant bigs, if I had to pick the field versus the Nets, I would take the field as we have this conversation today.
Jalen, I had an epiphany. I realized what these Brooklyn Nets are. The Brooklyn Nets are an NFT. The Brooklyn Nets are cryptocurrency. They're Bitcoin. They're like an idea that you know has value, but you don't really understand and you can't touch. Like, there's cash that has value, and then there's cryptocurrency, which is like a hypothetical thing that is important and has value. And that is what the Brooklyn Nets are. They're an idea of a great basketball team. They're a concept of a great basketball team, yet we've never seen them as a basketball team. That is how I view this Brooklyn Nets team, but I'm not ready to count them out yet. Much like Bitcoin, the value keeps rising and rising and rising and becoming more prominent. And yeah, sure, Harden's a ways away, but that doesn't mean he's out for the season. And if all three of these players are on the floor, there is not a team in the Eastern Conference that will beat them in a 7-game series. The Nets are Bitcoin. Invest in the Bitcoin now.
I like what you did there.
Invest now in the cryptocurrency.
I like what you did there.
Moving on to a team also in the Eastern Conference, but performing way below expectations, and that are the Boston Celtics. Now, I have to say they were without Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker, and Time Lord. However, they lost to a team that has lost 14 straight games and isn't even trying to win. They lost to the Thunder. Jalen Rose, what does that mean to you that this team, although missing some star players, lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder and ended their 14-game losing streak?
You know, the conversations we have on and off wax. And what we were saying off wax about the Celtics recently spilled onto wax.
Oh, put it on wax, Jay.
We didn't need this game to actually happen to say what we've been saying.
Say what you said yesterday before the game even started.
The Boston Celtics have been my most disappointing team in the NBA this season. They truly have. The reason why we're able to celebrate the excellence of the Knicks and the Hawks is because they're doing better than the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just think about that for a second. And you know how much I love Tatum and Jalen Brown. Like, those are two of my favorite young players, especially a namesake. You know how much I love Marcus Smart. But they need Kemba to be all-NBA that they traded for. He wasn't all-star this year. You said Time Lord missed the game. They got like 2 or 3 Williams. I wish that they were one player. Tristan's been inconsistent. Yeah, he's a really good offensive rebounder. They're not getting quality minutes at the 5. But then you have to look over to the sideline at Brad Stevens. They have 2 all-NBA performers, Jacoby. They got to be playing better than they playing. They look uninspired. They're not consistently playing with a level of tenacity and toughness defensively. And, of course, you know how it works in professional sports. When they're making it to conference finals, we're going to be giving Brad Stevens love, and we're going to be talking about what Indiana's offering him. However, this Boston Celtic team has been an underachieving one, and when we talk about the players, we must acknowledge the coach as well.
They just gave Brad Stevens an extension, and you have to wonder, if things go poorly and they get in the play-in and they lose, if they end up not in the playoffs, you have to wonder if they will regret that extension. Why are you saying that, Mr. Rose?
They're not going to regret it. They're not going to regret it. I think they're happy with him and what he's accomplished. However, I just want to make sure I acknowledge that this has been an underachieving squad. Like, you'll take Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Marcus Smart on any squad.
Of course.
If I had to pick people in positions to do what they do to end games, they would be like 3 of the top 5 players at their positions doing what they do. So when I watch them give up uncontested layups and dunks, it's something that's unacceptable.
They've lost 3 straight games, and they just lost to a team that's literally trying not to win games and lost 14 in a row. Jalen, the NFL draft is tomorrow. That's coming up tomorrow, but what is coming up next is a gentleman who is joining us. Rashad Bateman joins us after this very short break. You're not going to want to miss that. One of the most exciting receivers in the draft right after this.
That was against Michigan.
Coming to you live above the Heineken River Deck here in Pier 17 in New York City. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen joining us right now on the show is one of the most exciting prospects in the NFL draft.
Michigan,
former
nightmare.
Minnesota wide receiver Rashad Bateman joins us on Jalen and Jacoby right now. Rashad, thank you so much for taking the time.
Appreciate it. Thank you all for having me.
Rashad, we've been doing our research on you, and we read an article that you used to sleep with a football sort of like tucked and walk around the house with it at 7 years old. What inspired you to do that?
I just think, growing up, just sitting in the front room watching football all day, I got addicted to the game. I fell in love with it. And being from where I'm from, I knew it was my way out. So just having that love for it at a young age definitely helped me out.
I heard it in his voice, Jacoby. Either you sling crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot. That's a dope Tupac shirt you rocking. By the way, you were undersized as a teenager. How did now growing into the type of physical player you've become and the productive player you've become, how did that motivate you?
It definitely motivated me just because a lot of schools told me that I was too small and things like that. So, being able to go to college, attack the weight room and get bigger, faster, stronger, definitely made me feel more confident in my game. So, everything's happened for a reason, but, size really don't matter. At the end of the day, you just playing football, man. It's all business.
Exactly. We watched these highlights. You switched your number from 13 to 0 senior year. What was the motivation behind that?
After George Floyd was murdered in Minneapolis, I just wanted to use my platform for a positive cause. So that's why I changed my number to 0 for zero tolerance against racism. That's what I stand for. That's what I believe in. So I just want to use my platform as a positive, message.
As a fellow Big Ten alum, I salute you, my brother. And that's extremely noble that you chose to use your platform for something that's a lot larger than yourself. That's extremely admirable. Going into this year's NFL draft, however, there are a lot of other big-name receivers that are being talked about. You got a Heisman Trophy winner, a couple of guys from Alabama, as a matter of fact. You got Jamar Chase. So what separates you from those guys?
You know, I'm not going to sit here and get into all that. You know, time will tell. You know, I got COVID. I wasn't at my best. You know, I kind of fell off in 2020, as people would say. But, you know, I'm just going to keep working. You know, my work will prove for itself. And, you know, time will tell. So I'm just excited to get back on the football field to get ready to compete.
So you spent some time training with DK Metcalf and Odell Beckham Jr. What was that experience like, and what did you learn?
It's definitely a cool experience, you know, because I look up to both of those guys growing up, watching them play. You know, both of those guys have been through a lot in their careers, you know, and to see them, you know, be able to still excel at the highest level. That's why I admired them two the most. So, you know, it's definitely exciting, you know, definitely getting to be around them, seeing how pro athletes work was definitely beneficial to me. They both gave me some good advice. So, you know, I'm going to take it and use it in my life as well.
Well, you're about to go to the league and do work, because I watch Big Ten games really closely, and you went to work against my Wolverines consistently. So I'm actually a fan of yours. How did playing in the Big Ten get you ready for the NFL?
You know, I just feel like in Big Ten, you got everything, to be honest, from good receivers to good defenses. So being able to excel in the Big Ten is like, to me, one of the slept-on conference. So just going in there every weekend, you know, you can get beat just like you can in every other conference. So just going out there, you know, compete with everybody, and that definitely just made everybody better.
We've been talking about the draft for months now, and every minute gets closer and closer. And what is your plan for draft day? Like, what is your day tomorrow?
My day, you know, just wake up, get a fresh cut, of course, and then, you know, after that, I'm gonna just vibe throughout the day with my homies and some family and friends, and then late at night, you know, I'm gonna go home with my family and friends as well, you know, to get ready to go through the night.
What does it mean to you, your family, your community? I heard it in your voice. As somebody that walked around with a football since you were 7 years old, what does it now mean to you to not only get drafted, but have a chance to play in the NFL and chase and pursue your dreams?
It definitely feels good. It just feels good to be the standard, to be honest, you know, just to give kids in my city and the surrounding cities hope, you know, to show them that it's possible to make it. And also, you know, with athletes that's going to Minnesota, Minnesota is a very, you know, underlooked school. So just being able to go there, you know, just being able to be the standard and show people that it's possible is always been the goal of mine.
Well, we're so excited to watch you get drafted tomorrow, and I'm so excited to watch you in the league and mark down all the teams that drafted receivers in front of you and just take them out week by week as you go through in the NFL.
Yeah, he will.
I know you're going to do it in your head. You won't say it, but you know you're going to do it. We appreciate you so much for taking the time to join us on Jalen Jacoby.
Thanks for the love. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll be back with Mike on ESPN. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, we have 2 potential boxing matches with 3 Hall of Famers and 1 dude from YouTube. We start with Floyd Mayweather taking on Jake Paul's brother, Logan Paul. The other one is potentially Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis. Which one of these 2 fights are you more interested in watching?
One of my favorite things to see in sports is Floyd get money. So just that happening, that just makes me happy. Now, I've actually been in Las Vegas and watched Tyson and Lennox Lewis literally fight in their prime. That's the answer to this question.
I want to see Floyd Mayweather beat up Logan Paul and then beat up Jake Paul, and then I want to never see or hear from the Paul brothers again. Jalen, today's a significant and difficult day for you. Why is that?
My mother, Jeannie Cassandra Rose, would have turned 80 today. I just want to say we love and miss you, Ma. I'm forever grateful for all of the sacrifices you made for me, our family. The creation of the name Jalen is one of the things that's going to help carry her legacy. And I'm just really grateful that my mom meant everything to me and did everything for me. And now I'm going to do the best I can to represent her legacy along with my family. So rest in peace, Ma. She would have turned 80 today.
We'll be back tomorrow on ESPN at 2 p.m.